Hello everyone, my name is Liza Rosen. I'm a certified executive and life coach, and I'm also a certified breathwork trainer. Now, in my breathwork activities, I basically train and teach people how to relearn to breathe correctly and optimally for life-changing health benefits. Okay. Now, in view of the recent massive COVID outbreak that we've seen here in Hong Kong in the past couple of days, that has given rise to a lot of stress, anxiety, fear, panic, anger, overwhelm for most of us, and I'm obviously one of the first to have experienced all these feelings directly. I felt that I wanted to reach out and provide support in my way to anyone who's in need right now and who might be struggling with some of these feelings. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing three very practical yet powerful breathing tools and tips and tricks with you. And at the end, I'm also going to be sharing one very simple exercise that you can do to just help to calm yourself down, get out of that fight or flight, get out of that stress feeling with the simple power of the breath and in just a couple of minutes. Okay, but before I dive into that, just a little bit of background information on maybe just breathing, and especially the power of the breath in healing and in dealing with a variety of health conditions, and obviously stress and anxiety being one of them. What I just want you to remember and take away is this, that depending on how you're breathing and where you're breathing from in your body, and even your rate of respiration, you can activate and stimulate things like your nervous system, your heart rate, your blood pressure, and the list just goes on and on. Okay, so obviously for the purpose of today's video that I'm sharing with you, we will be focusing on breathing techniques that stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your famous restore and repair mode in your body, okay, as opposed to this the sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight or your stress response in your body. So breathing tip number one, nasal breathing as opposed to mouth breathing. So you want to make sure that you're always using your nose, that you're always breathing through your nose, that you're practicing nasal breathing as a general daily breathing habit. Okay, why is this? Okay, well, for several reasons. The nose basically filters, so it cleans, it heats, it humidifies and moistens the environmental air that then goes into our lungs. Okay. We also have this gas called nitric oxide that's produced in our nasal cavities, and that acts like a very powerful natural antiviral, antibacterial, and vasodilator. Okay. And obviously, when we breathe through our nose, we're getting all these enhanced health benefits that we don't get when we mouth breathe. Okay. Another thing about the nose is that because obviously the airway passage is smaller than that of the mouth, it actually encourages us to take more calming, more slow breaths, as opposed to mouth breathing. Okay. And another thing, lastly, with the nose is that, as I said, because of the airway passage being smaller, we're encouraged to take slower breaths and also engage our primary breathing muscle, which I'm going to get to in tip number two. Okay, so takeaway here is the nose knows best all the time. Okay, so practice nasal breathing. Tip number two, I just spoke to you about the primary breathing muscle. Now, a question I always ask all of my students and clients in my workshops and training is, what is your primary breathing muscle? Okay, so if you had to Google primary breathing muscle in my body, what would Google tell you? Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of seconds just to think about that. And because obviously I don't want to keep you waiting for too long, I'm going to give you the answer. Your primary breathing muscle in your body is your diaphragm, your thoracic diaphragm. Okay, so the only reason your diaphragm was created and placed in your body was to serve as primary breathing muscle and to support your respiratory system. Full stop. Just remember that. Now, again, I'm not going to dive into the details of the diaphragm, explaining, where it's located and how it looks like and how it functions and all that. I just want you to know that your diaphragm is basically, it's a dome-shaped muscle, a bit like a hat, that is located and attached to your lower rib cage. And it basically goes all the way around your lower rib cage and is attached to your spine as well, okay? And that when your diaphragm is functioning correctly, okay, it's actually moving like this on every single inhale and exhale. So if you know that, well, when you know that the average adult person breathes around 20 to 25,000 times per day, well, your diaphragm should be moving like this 20 to 25,000 times per day. Okay, the problem today is that most of us are not using or are underusing our diaphragms, okay, because we are upper chest, we're breathing with our upper chest and like these short, shallow breathing styles, okay, which is a dysfunctional breathing style. However, this is today how the majority of people breathe. So we really want to, get this breath down, okay? Stop using our neck and shoulder muscles, which were never meant to be our primary breathing muscles, and really get the breath down and start engaging our diaphragm, which is our primary breathing muscle, okay, in order to get all these extra health benefits linked to the fact of our diaphragm, moving like this and massaging all our internal organs and so forth, okay? So just remember that. Tip number 2 is engage and use your thoracic diaphragm when you breathe, okay? And obviously another effect of using your diaphragm is that it stimulates, your vagus nerve, which is one of the most important cranial nerves connecting your brain to the rest of the body. That in turn activates and stimulates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your famous rest and digest, restore and repair mode of your body. That's going to help you sort of relax when you need to. Tip number 3, exhale. Focus on the exhales. Emphasize your exhales. So because exhales are key, okay? Again, without going into too much detail, your exhales have a sort of a parasympathetic effect to it, okay? An immediate calming effect. And also just remember this, that today the majority of people are not exhaling correctly and fully, okay? Meaning that there's always going to remain this sort of old stale air in the lungs. So by learning and relearning and retraining to properly exhale, we're getting rid of all that stale old air, and it basically means that our next inhale is just going to be more efficient and more optimal, okay? And obviously better oxygenation and so forth, okay? So tip number 3 is the exhale is key, okay? Just summarize 3 tips. Tip number 1 is the nasal breathing, the nose knows best. Tip number 2 is start engaging and practicing diaphragm, engaging your diaphragm, or when you breathe, and practicing diaphragmatic breathing. And tip number 3 is focus on the exhales, okay? So obviously all those 3 elements have a parasympathetic effect to them, meaning that they really help to calm your body down within the space of minutes. And so obviously when you combine them, all 3 into one exercise, well, you can just imagine that that's really when you get the most enhanced health benefits when it comes to stress and anxiety management. Now, I promised you a very simple, practical and quite powerful, relaxing breathing exercise that you can basically practice anywhere, any place, anytime. So there's no excuse not to do it. Okay, it's called box breathing. Okay, but before just getting into box breathing, I would like us to take just a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes to just practice this diaphragmatic breathing, which is just so key and so important, and that I'm sure is going to help you to really just manage to relax yourself immediately, okay? So to do that, I'm going to invite you to take both hands and just place them on your belly, but just at the base of your lower rib cage, okay? It's just to bring attention, to bring awareness to this diaphragm that's located here, okay? And what I want you to do now is you're going to follow me. We're going to inhale through the nose, and as you inhale, your belly expands, okay? Because your diaphragm flattens, and so your belly expands. And then on the exhale, we're going to exhale through the mouth, nice slow exhale, and on the exhale, you're going to draw your belly in, okay? On the exhale, the diaphragm relaxes and moves back up, contracting and narrowing back everything, okay? So it's going to look like this. We're going to inhale through the nose, belly expands, and then we're going to exhale through the mouth, narrowing back everything. And obviously while we're doing this, we want to make sure that our jaw, our neck and shoulders are completely relaxed at all times. There's no tension, because obviously they have nothing to do with what we're trying to achieve here with this diaphragmatic breathing. So let's just do the diaphragmatic breathing a couple of more times. So inhale through the nose, belly expands, and then we exhale through the mouth. Belly narrows. Inhale through the nose, belly expands. And then we exhale through the mouth and belly narrows back. Now, promise you a breathing exercise, box breathing. This is one out of many breathing exercises that can really help to calm yourselves down with the simple power of the breath in a couple of minutes. Okay, so box breathing, think about a box, the four sides of a box. So, well, I've got my yoga block, which is not a box, obviously, it's not a square, it's a rectangle, but just imagine like you've got the four sides, the four sides of a box. It's basically, which correspond to the four sides of the breath, okay? So we're gonna have an inhale, a breath hold, an exhale, and a breath hold, okay? So we're gonna have inhale, hold, exhale, hold. And to this sequence, we're gonna add in a little bit of breath counting. So we're gonna start with a count of 4, where we're gonna use an equal count of 4 for inhale for a count of 4, hold the breath for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4, and then hold the breath again for a count of 4. And then we just start again like this, okay? So I'm gonna show you how to practice this. Just a quick note, if you are pregnant, then don't practice the breath holding part, okay? You don't want to do that. So in case of pregnancy, I just recommend you to continue with a steady, constant flow of just inhaling and exhaling, inhaling and exhaling. So you can start with a count of 4, so you can just do, nice, slow inhale for a count of 4, and then exhale for a count of 4. And then you begin again, inhale for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4, okay? So just avoid the breath holding, okay? Now let's practice this box breathing. Take your hands, and I invite you again to place them on your lower rib cage, okay? Your lower ribs touching your belly, okay? And now you can follow me. We're gonna inhale for a count of 4 through the nose. Belly expands, then we're going to hold the breath for a count of 4, and we're going to exhale through the mouth for a count of 4, with the belly kind of narrowing back and contracting, and then we're going to hold the breath for a count of 4, and then we start again, okay? So let's go. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale nose, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale mouth, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale nose, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale mouth, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Now by yourselves, inhale, hold, exhale, and hold. Feel free to share this with anyone who you think might benefit from these breathing exercises and tips and tricks. If I can do anything to support you, to help you, if you're struggling, do reach out to me. Check out my Instagram, Facebook, website. I'd be super happy to support you in any way that I can. Take care, stay safe and healthy. Bye-bye.